Ali Rami, and the 40 shadows and the far reaches of the ancient desert kingdom of Qasir, nestled between the sun-scorched dunes and the forgotten ruins of empires, lived a humble woodcutter named Ali Rami, with no great fortune, no noble blood, and no ambition beyond his daily bread. Ali was a man content with life's simple rhythms. Each morning, he rose before the sun, kissed his mother on the forehead, and led his donkey, Zahir, into the great Al-Rimal forest to gather firewood. The people of his village, Al-Mahira, considered him honest, if unremarkable, but fate, ever mischievous, had other plans. One cloudless morning, Ali wandered farther than usual. The forest thinned, giving way to rocky hills rarely trodden. He was about to turn back when he heard something strange voices, but not ordinary ones. They were low, urgent, almost like chanting. He followed the sound up a craggy slope, hiding behind a boulder. There, in a clearing surrounded by jagged rocks, stood 40 men, cloaked in black, faces veiled. They moved in perfect silence until their leader, a tall man with a gold-inlaid scimitar, stepped forward and raised his arm. He spoke a phrase that chilled Ali's blood. Open, oh, stone. With a groan that echoed through the hills, the massive rock wall before them cracked open, revealing a dark cave. One by one, the thieves disappeared inside. Ali Rami waited. Minutes passed. Then the leader returned, said, "Close, O stone." And the rock sealed again, erasing all evidence. Ali waited until the riders vanished down the hills in a trail of dust. Heart-pounding, he crept to the rock and repeated the words, "Open, O stone." The mountain obeyed. Inside, the cave glittered like a sultan's dream. Gold coins, jeweled daggers, silk beyond measure, ivory statues, and scrolls that hummed with forgotten magic. Ali staggered through the riches, overwhelmed. He dared not take much, just a small sack of gold coins and one tiny ruby, no bigger than a date seed. As he left, he repeated the command to seal the cave, and it closed behind him like a secret. Back in Al-Mahira, Ali Rami paid off his debts, repaired his home, and opened a modest shop selling fabrics and perfumes. He said little of his fortune, claiming an inheritance from a distant uncle. Most believed him after all. Who would expect such treasure from a poor woodcutter? But one man did not believe. Qasir, his older brother. Qasir was everything. Ali was not greedy, bitter, and ever hungry for wealth. He had mocked Ali's poverty for years, and now could not stand to see him prosper. One night, Qasir followed Ali into the forest, hiding among trees as Ali disappeared behind the hill. He waited, watched, and heard the magic words. As Ali entered the cave, Qasir memorized everything. When Ali returned, Qasir was already plotting. The next day, Qasir snuck to the cave and uttered the words. The rock obeyed. Inside, he laughed, grabbing handfuls of gold, stringing emerald necklaces around his neck, filling sack after sack until he could barely move. But when it came time to leave, greed betrayed, he forgot the exact words. Open, rock, he shouted. Move, you cursed stone. Nothing. The mountain stayed sealed. 3 days later, the 40 thieves returned. They found Qasir, half mad from thirst, clinging to a sack of pearls. Their leader, Saran Alnar, drew his curved sword and raised it high. Who dares steal from the Brotherhood of Shadows? Qasir begged for his life, offering the name of the one who led him there, Ali Rami. Saran spared him, but not without cost. He branded Qasir's palm with a serpent mark and sent him back to the village with a message. Tell your brother we are coming. When Qasir stumbled into Al-Mahira, Ali knew something was wrong. His brother's eyes were wild, and the mark on his hand glowed faintly with dark magic. They know, Qasir gasped, they're coming for you. Ali's blood turned cold. That night, he packed a satchel and slipped into the desert with only Zahir and a dagger. He had no plan, only one thought, escape. But the shadows were already moving. The 40 were not just thieves, they were cursed warriors, bound by an ancient oath. They did not forgive. They did not forget Ali couldn't outrun them forever. After days wandering the wastelands, Ali collapsed near the ruins of Old Uber, the fabled city of brass towers and lost knowledge. There, in a crumbling dome choked by vines, he found a strange man, old, blind, but radiating power. I know your scent, the old man said without turning. Thief of thieves. Shadow-marked, Ali protested, pleaded. I took only a coin. I never meant, but you found the cave, the man interrupted. You broke the silence. This was Zaman, last of the desert sorcerers. I can hide. You, Zaman said, but nothing is free. Ali bowed. I will pay whatever you ask. Zaman's price was strange. A story, not gold, not blood, but the truth. Tell me your tale, all of it, he said, and I shall cast a veil over your name. So Ali told him. Every moment, every fear, even the ruby in his pocket. When he finished, the sorcerer whispered in a tongue older than sand. The mark on Qasir's hand vanished. The trail to the cave was erased from memory. Even the thieves would forget him for now. But Zaman gave a final warning. Their magic is deep. One day, they will remember. When that day comes, you must be more than a woodcutter. Ali nodded. Years passed. Ali Rami became a respected merchant, then an advisor to the Sultan of Qasir. He married, had children, and never spoke of the cave. But magic, like fire buried in ash, always waits to rise again. On the 12th year of his peace, black riders entered Qasir by nightfall. The gates opened with no resistance. Their leader was still Saren, unchanged by time. The sorcerer Zaman had died. The spell faded. The 40 came not for gold but revenge. Ali knew he could not run. He rode to the desert alone, to the cave that had changed everything. Before the stone wall, he waited. When the thieves arrived, they were not met by a coward or a merchant. Ali Rami stood in the old woodcutter's cloak, dagger in hand, and said, "You want what I stole?" Saren nodded. "Yes." Ali tossed the small ruby, the one he'd kept all these years, into the sand. "Take it." The thief leader smiled. It was never about the ruby. Then they attacked, but Ali was ready. From the cliffs above, warriors leapt, men and women of Qasir, trained in secret, guided by Ali's warnings. Zahir's grandchildren carried water and weapons. Even Qasir came, a different man now, to repay his sin. The battle raged under a desert moon. 40 fell. Only one shadow remains. Saron. Ali faced him, sword against scimitar. Sparks flew. "You stole our secret," the thief growled. "And you stole my peace," Ali answered. Their blades sang. In the end, Ali stood over the fallen thief, breathless, the cave behind him sealed forever. Ali Rami never sought treasure again. He lived the rest of his days as a teacher, training those who would defend the innocent from the shadows that still wandered the world. The cave remained hidden, the words forgotten. But sometimes, when the desert wind howled through the dunes and the stars blinked like gold coins, the people of Qasir whispered tales of a woodcutter who outwitted 40 cursed thieves, and they remembered the lesson. Not all treasure is gold, and not all thieves wear swords.